What's up, everyone? We're back with sneak peek number 3, and although it's not particularly revealing about the characters or uniforms we'll see, it does confirm, at least for me, the references to Earth X storyline and the current comic book run Marvel X. It's prequel. The storyline is taking from the perspective of the Inhumans returning back to Earth after the incident that released the Terrigen Mist into the Earth's atmosphere. Let's take a look at the sneak peek, because I think it's going to show you a little bit of it. It does allude to the stream that they'll be having Friday night, but not necessarily about the characters in the update itself. Let's go ahead and take a look. Our agents are on the scene, but the exploration continues. A strange mist clouded the area. Something emerges from the fog. There's this comment, but I didn't see anything. So, I mean, maybe you guys can see something and point something out. A stream for August update is coming soon. We'll have more details, and then we hope that many of you will join us for all things Marvel Future Fight. So they'll probably have on that Friday, they'll have that stream that they typically have on Facebook that everybody complains about rewards for. But let's go ahead and take a look at this video and go from there.
Greetings, agents. Classy Cage here to bring you the latest on the V630 stream. So if you take a look behind me, you'll notice there's a cloud forming up, and, sorry. Apparently, sources refer to me calling it a Terrigen Mist. Not sure what that is, but we'll definitely have more for you on the latest V630 stream. So be sure to stay tuned. What is this? Get down.
Classic Cage, right? Players have reported seeing stuff out of the fog, but I personally didn't see anything. So, I mean, if you've got something, please leave your comment below. I'd love to see what you guys see. But over here on Twitter, we want to check this really quick. So my mysterious cloud is looming towards a Marvel Future Fight. Stay tuned for the V630 stream on August 7th. Basically, the Facebook stream that we typically get. That's really about all. Somebody said they saw something in the left corner here. But I mean, I've gone through this thing frame by frame, and I've got nothing. So if you've got something, by all means, let me know. I would love to discuss it. I think it would be great. But back to kind of the storyline of Earth X and why it kind of confirms for me that it's about this particular run in the comics. So right now, the Earth X storyline, the comic book run, is getting a prequel that's called Marvel's X. There's a couple of variant covers that's already out. It started in January. It's supposed to be a 6-issue run. They haven't gone through all of the run yet because of COVID-19. But essentially the plot line is we're taking a perspective of the Inhumans returning back to Earth after the incident that released the Terrigen Mist into the Earth's atmosphere. Initially, there is a Terrigen crystal bomb intended to be set off by Maximus, but his brother Black Bolt is the one who actually sets off the bomb. He was trying to accelerate the transformation of humanity into Inhumans so that his people would not be essentially discriminated against like the mutants have been all of their existence. So the mutants kind of deal with the same thing. Their mutation is out on their skin, right? You can see that they're a mutant and they're always discriminated against. And he didn't want the Inhumans to be in the same situation. So he released Terrigen Crystal Bomb, causing all of humanity to manifest superpowers. As anticipated, the Terrigen Mist begins mutating Earth's human population in what they call Plague X. Our heroes, the ones that we are familiar with, are not affected because essentially their superpower is a manifestation of their human gene, their inhuman gene. Any species that is affected by the celestial modification, which we come to find is a heavy part of this story, the Celestials, you may recognize them from the CTPs. It's a Celestial Tech Pack. But the celestial modification is essentially an evolutionary process over a long period of time. Millenniums is the intended. But beings on the planet that have the celestial modification would start to develop powers through some natural means, such as mutants, or some unnatural means, such as Spider-Man, for example. A radioactive spider bite causes Peter Parker to gain spider-like abilities because of his inhuman gene. Similar in that same vein, overloaded with gamma radiation, Bruce Banner would turn into a big green monster. Other normal, natural means would be essentially the mutants. Storm, for example, being claustrophobic, under heavy stress, then develops the ability to control weather. Cyclops manifesting his laser eyes, that sort of thing. So when the bomb goes off, it accelerates this event. The Inhumans, they leave Earth. They take off. And that's more or less because they started to gain pretty heavy mutations themselves. Gorgon here, Karnak, and Triton start to take on a particular look about them. And if you've been following along, I've been saying that this look is essentially what this update is going to be focused around. So the plotline is their return back to Earth. What it ends up being when the Inhumans get back to Earth, and what is it like here when everybody has superpowers. When they first initially land, they're sort of confused as to what happened. What is this place? Why does Adelan look the way that it does? And then they get into New York City, and mutants are running around kind of at random. There's this man flying over here. There's lizard creatures walking across the streets. There's another person that's flying over here. They think it's Thor. It's not. Basically, the world's gotten pretty bleak. As we kind of progress through the story, we get to meet some of the heroes that we've known to come and love. Thing has a family. Spider-Man's a fat man. There's any number of different things that we've kind of catch up on in this storyline itself. One of the big questions that we'll get is essentially, where are all the mutants? And to be honest, there's nothing particularly special about them anymore. When you live in a world with everyone that has superpowers, your laser eyes don't really mean anything. Your healing factor doesn't really do much. Doesn't stand out amongst anybody else. So it becomes a question of, is this really a mutant update? I'm not entirely sold that we're actually going to get mutants in this update. There's another event that's happening right now, and it's the August update SNS. From CM Fragment, one of the things that he listed is this idea of hashtagging mutants whenever you post something on social media. So there's some indication that is going to be a mutant update. We don't have any evidence of it yet. More to come kind of effort there. But if you want to look more, I don't want to spoil too much of the Earth X trilogy simply because we're going to get more of it, and there's an active prequel that's happening. But the Earth X trilogy takes place in 3 pieces. It's the first run of, I believe it's 9 books, is Earth X, and that's available on Marvel Unlimited. The second part of it is Universe X, which gets into more of the lore of what's happening. You actually get to see characters like Marvel and Loki and Mephisto and Absorbing Man and stuff like that. They've all come up and figured out what's going on. And then Paradise X is the last part of this trilogy. Paradise X talks about the culmination of everything. How to essentially get back to normal. This Paradise X does have more mutants in it, so it is something that you kind of, it's how it ends, essentially. And how do we get back to quote-unquote normal, something that we're more familiar with in Earth 616. That's essentially the original trilogy that's happening. There is the current prequel that's happening. The latest series is called Marvel's X, which is not necessarily related to the other Marvel's X that's written, but this Marvel's X, like I said in the beginning of the video here, isn't completed yet, has just essentially started and has not been completely shown. So we're waiting on the rest of that. But that's kind of where I want to leave you with. If there's any other sneak peeks, if we find something new, we'll comment on that. Otherwise, we'll catch you out on Friday for the live stream. But as always, thank you again for watching, commenting, subscribing, following. All of it is always greatly appreciated. But until next time, be well, stay safe. See you soon.